So, uh, something kind of funny happened to me online the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it really got me thinking.
hmm
It all started with this post I saw in Blue Sky by this attorney, Mitch Jackson. You probably know him.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's pretty well known in the legal tech space.
Okay.
And so anyway, he was talking about this new AI tool, DeepSeek AI. Have you heard of it?
The name rings a bell.
Yes. It's one of those things that sounds amazing on the surface.
I see one of those too good to be true things, huh?
Well, actually, that's kind of the point.
Okay.
See, Jackson, he started digging into the terms of service. You know those things we all just click, agree on?
Yep, guilty as charged.
Well, apparently with DeepSeek AI, that's not a good idea.
Oh, really? What's the catch?
That's what this whole deep dive is about, uncovering the catch.
Okay, sounds interesting.
And that's why I'm so glad you're here to help us unpack all of this.
Happy to help.
So the terms of service are where all the red flags are, right?
Right. You see, most people don't realize that the TOS, those are like the contract between you and the company.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they outline exactly what you're agreeing to when you use their service.
Okay.
And with anything like that, especially when your data is involved, understanding those terms is absolutely crucial. It's about informed consent.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm usually guilty of just clicking through those things.
Oh, me too.
But Jackson's post really made me stop and think.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what you might be agreeing to without even realizing it. Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing with their data, right?
Right, and that's what's so concerning about DeepSeek AI.
Okay.
Jackson highlighted a few key areas in his post that really caught my attention. Data retention, surveillance, legal exposure, and even the fact that they can unilaterally change the terms whenever they want.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that's just scratching the surface.
So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with data retention, because I think that's something a lot of people don't even consider.
Absolutely.
So tell us what's going on with DeepSeek and data retention.
Well, DeepSeek's TOS, it states that even if you delete your account,
Yeah.
they can keep your data indefinitely.
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 Like forever.
Like forever.
So even after you're done using DeepSeek, they can still hold on to all your information?
That's what it seems like, yeah.
And what does that mean for users?
Well, it means they could potentially use that data in ways you never agreed to.
Like what?
Oh. Like training other AI models.
Oh. Right.
Or targeting you with personalized advertising,
Mhm.
even selling it to third parties.
So they could be making money off our data even after we stop using their service.
Exactly. It's about control, and as a
Yeah.
user, that lack of control should be a big concern.
Yeah. I mean, if they can keep our data forever, who knows what they could do with it down the line.
Exactly.
Okay, so data retention is a huge red flag. What about the surveillance issue? How is DeepSeek watching what users are doing?
So their TOS, it gives them a pretty broad power to monitor and collect everything you put into the app and everything it generates for you.
So basically everything you do on DeepSeek.
Pretty much.
That sounds pretty invasive.
It is. I mean, imagine you're using DeepSeek to, let's say, analyze some sensitive financial documents
Okay.
or brainstorm a new business idea, things you wouldn't want just anyone to see.
Right.
Well, according to the TOS, they can collect all of that, even down to your keystrokes and editing history.
It's like they're looking over your shoulder constantly.
Exactly. And that raises a lot of questions about data security. How secure is all that information they're collecting?
Not very, if you ask me.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have no idea what they're doing with it, what they're seeing.
That's a really uncomfortable thought, isn't it?
It is.
And then there's the legal exposure issue, which honestly sounds pretty scary.
Right. So DeepSeek, it's governed by Chinese law.
So,
Well, that means Chinese authorities could potentially demand access to user data.
wait, really?
Yeah, and that raises a whole other set of questions, especially for users outside of China.
Like what?
Well, you might not have the same legal protections or recourse that you would with a company operating under your own country's laws.
You could be subject to a whole different set of rules that you don't even know about.
Exactly. It's a big gamble.
Okay, so we've got data retention, surveillance, legal exposure, and then to top it all off, Mitch mentioned that they can change their TOS at any time without even telling users.
Yeah, that's right.
So the rules of the game could completely change and we wouldn't even know about it.
Exactly. And that just highlights a real power imbalance between the user and the company,
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're handing over control of our data and potentially even our privacy without fully understanding the consequences.
You're not wrong.
And to make it worse, they can just change the rules whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do about it except stop using the service.
Which, at that point, might already be too late because they have all your data.
Right. Mitch really hit the nail on the head in his post, he said. You're not just using the AI. The AI is using you.
That's a powerful statement, and it's so true.
And it's something we should all think about, as AI becomes more prevalent in our lives.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the cool features and forget about the potential risks.
Exactly. So as you're exploring these new AI tools like DeepSeek, remember that your data is valuable.
Yeah.
Before you click agree on those terms of service, take a moment to really understand what you're agreeing to.
Your privacy is at stake.
Exactly. You have to ask yourself, what level of privacy am I willing to give up? How important is data security to me? Am I comfortable with the potential legal implications?
Those are all really important questions that we need to be asking ourselves more and more these days.
Absolutely. The more informed we are as consumers, the better choices we can make.
Well, this has been such an eye-opening conversation. Thank you so much for breaking all of this down for us.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners, if you want to hear more from Mitch Jackson about this and other tech-related legal issues,
He's a great resource.
He really is. I highly recommend connecting with him on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. We'll drop those links for you.
Definitely do that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, be informed, be aware, and always read the fine print.
Always.
Until next time.
See ya.